Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Hey, you guys. How's everyone doing? The thing we're going to go over today is a little different because some court papers were filed down the rabbit hole. Actually, well, Rabbit, as we know her, she posted something in her community tab late last night. I think it was like 1 something in the morning. I shared it because I was like, I don't give a damn. We're going to go over this deposition anyway. But just to be on the safe side, I went to Pacer and I paid for the document. And it turns out there is specific language in the protective order that I didn't know existed that they reiterated in this 13-page motion that was filed by the Rodni family against Ryan Upchurch for putting the defamation lawsuit on YouTube. What he did broke the protective order for the information. He's technically under some sort of gag. And him posting his defamation deposition is a violation of that gag order, which with it being Upchurch, it's not surprising that he is going against the rules. So with that being said, and considering the way that we handled the situation with Delphi, now that I know that specific language exists, we really can't go over this until I speak to the court. See, I'm not part of this case, and I have an entire copy of it. So even if he is forced to remove it, I still have it. Now, as of earlier today, it was still there. I don't know if he has removed it since. Let me go look real quick. Now, I know that it has gotten double the views since the court filing was written, and that's what we're going to go over. We're going to actually read the court filing against him for posting it on there. Let me see if it's up. Let me see if he still has it up. I know that this morning when I looked, it was still up and he went live. Yeah, it's still there. He went live last night. I didn't listen to it, but there's nothing about the lawsuit or the court stuff or the posting or anything being mentioned in the comment section. So I'm going to assume he didn't mention anything about the courts. I don't really know. Because again, I don't pay attention to anything else but this when it comes to this person. So I'm just basing that off of the comments. But this deposition now has 243,000 views. And the parts of it that I did listen to, he's just being like a smart ass. He's playing kind of dumb, which we already know better. He didn't get to where he got in the music industry as an independent artist by being an idiot. So he's definitely putting on an act through this entire thing, in my opinion. So hopefully we can go over it soon, but for now, we are going to go over the violation information that was posted. And depending on how much time it takes to go through these 13 pages, which the font is hella big. It's super ginormous. Depending on how long it takes to go through that, we might go ahead and read through the judge's order for why the dismissal was denied, because we haven't gone through that here on this channel yet. And knowing now that this is stuff that's going on, this, I think, is the last thing that we need to do to get fully caught up before there's a true trial or whatever ends up happening here. I mean, it's the fact that he not only is saying that Kiely is not a real person, but he also brought another person into it named Kiely and tried to say that that's like who they're basing the Kiely Rodni character on, and that Kiely's grandfather was actually this other person related to Kiely. And that he was basically claiming that the entire family was lying about Kiely even existing, including lying about her death and everything else in order to do this GoFundMe scam thing. That's the basis for this. Now, I am really confused, though, about the way that this lawsuit is written out, because when it came to the GoFundMe, it was Lindsay's friend that set up the GoFundMe, which is Kiely's mother. So if you haven't noticed, Lindsay and her husband are not parties to the case. It's Kiely's biological father and her grandfather. It's not Lindsay. Lindsay is the one I have questions for, and not when it comes to what happened to Kiely, just the irresponsibility of her parenting that night. And you guys already know, I'm going to say what needs to be said. This was a 16-year-old child that was out at a party in the middle of the freaking night, or at least that's what the mother believed, where she knew based off what this party's reputation was, because it happened every year. There was substances, there was drinking, there was older people, there was people from other areas that was supposed to come in, and there was no verbal communication. She literally changed her entire plan last minute, with a text message to go to this party instead of going with her mom somewhere, I think a car show. And there was no on the phone call, hey mom, can I go to this party, or I'm going to go to this party with Mags instead, or anything like that. Nothing. It was all through text. And then when she gets to this party, her friend that she gets there with leaves in like 10 minutes. And this next part is just my opinion, but this Mags chick is basically trying to act as if people were putting like bongs and stuff in their faces to like take hits off of. But you look at her, you see how she acts, you just, it's the stigma. And I know that this is the stigma, but she doesn't look like she is innocent to the herb. Okay. So I don't know why that was like the story that she told for leaving after 10 minutes. But then Kiely's just like left on her own at 16 around all these people. And this chick, Sammy, who is a complete liar about their friendship. And that's the damn truth. They were not best friends. They barely knew each other. Sammy didn't even really like Kiely. They weren't following each other on social media. Sammy put herself into this situation for what, other than whatever reason that is in her mind? I don't know, but she's also the last person to have also spoken to Kiely. So whenever you insert yourself and you tell people, don't go to the cops with the information, come to me. Let me vet what you're going to tell the cops before you tell them anything. It needs to go through me first. And the cops just let her. It's going to bring suspicion. It's going to bring suspicion. Then the cams came out and you can see Kiely's vehicle going like 8 to 10 miles per hour, if that, very slowly into the water. Then we see whenever she's finally found that the window's down. We know how athletic she was, how tiny she was. Then her autopsy report comes out and there's like barely anything at all in her system, and her ethanol or alcohol levels are the same as it would be for normal decomposition. And as waterlogged as her body should have been, like there's no water in her lungs. Like none of it made any sense. And then if you added on the insanity with AWP, Ryan Upchurch stepping in, the two Rodneys, all the shit with Ick and Mel, Popcorn Planet also getting in the mix of everything. Then we had a man apparently going around telling people not to say anything. We had the tow truck driver who apparently thinks he saw. That's been up in the air. That's a whole mix of mess with Adventures with Purpose. And of course, with everything that came with Adventures with Purpose, this whenever Jared Lysick's charges and accusations for all the stuff that he did to family members, all that stuff started coming out. A lot of stuff happened with this case. But the craziest part is that where Kiely was found was right where the camera freaking showed the vehicle going into the water. And right where we saw them all searching for weeks, for like 2 weeks, I think it was. I think it was like 2 weeks. I believe it was August the 6th that she was reported missing. And I think she was found on the 20th. That's going off memory. I might be off a day or two. But it was like 2 weeks or so. There was literal live footage of the scuba divers, the helicopter people, everybody literally swimming over and flying over where Kiely's car, her Honda CRV, ended up being found upside down in the water. And I believe it was only under like 14 feet of water at the time AWP got there. They found her within just like, I think it was like 20 minutes of getting in the water with the radar. They caught up to something being under there, and within a few hours they had confirmation. And that only took because they had to move the vehicles around, get suited up, get Nick in the water to see what was happening in the exact same place that everyone had been looking. It made no sense. On top of that, she was reported missing early in the morning because she was supposed to actually meet up with a friend at Starbucks at like 9 a.m. because she was supposed to be going camping that weekend. And her mother woke up because she didn't stay awake. You know, that was one of those other things. Your child's at a party. You're not getting voice confirmation about anything, and then you go to sleep before your underage child gets back. So it's not till the next morning that Lindsay notices that Kiely's not home. She's not answering her phone. The last location is at the party for, I think it was like 12:36, or it's 12:33, and then Sammy swears she got a call from Kiely at 12:36, is I think what it was. Again, I'm going off memory here. And she calls the cops at around like 9 something after she doesn't meet up with her friend at Starbucks. So it was very, very fast within a few hours of her last location. And there was no tire tracks or anything that led people to believe that she was in the water, as searchers were there again within a few hours of her last location. last being seen, last being spoke to. After all these years, and this was right before Idaho, so 3 years. There are no photos of this party. There are no photos of Kiely at this party. No one has come forward with whatever. The mass exodus that they swear happened when a whole bunch of people took off and left. When you look at the fire cams, it's just a sprinkling of cars. There's nothing but a lot of secrecy and a lot of questions. My problem with what Ryan is doing is that, again, he's out here claiming that Kiely is not a real human, meaning that there's not a real death that has real secrets that somebody really does need to be in real trouble for. And the majority of real people believe that that's the case here. We don't really believe at all that she was still breathing when she went into that water. Someone very easily could have driven it in enough in order to be able to get out before the car went in. It went so slow. Her autopsy doesn't make any sense. There's too much secrecy, and there's no proof she was even actually there. A text message and a cell phone ping does not mean the body in which those things are supposed to belong to was physically at that location, and no one can prove otherwise. We're going to go ahead and pop this up now and go ahead and read this, but I really want to keep up with what's been going on here. When this was filed, the video had 132,000 views. And at this point in time, let me refresh. It has 244,000 views in 3 days. So it has, pretty much doubled since this was written, which is crazy. That's super freaking crazy. What? That's insane. What? Which one? Wait, which interview are you talking about? This is against Ryan Upchurch. This was just filed. The deposition, it's just Ryan talking. Like, I'll just pop it up right here. I can't show it very much.
Any of these comments related to
him answering questions with a dip in his mouth.
That's still really
like an unprofessional hillbilly. Sorry, not sorry. You can't even sit there and not have a dip in your face while you're talking to the lawyers about this case. Like, you are so just absolutely wild, just absolutely insane. But it's just him. It's just him talking, answering questions like a smartass, playing dumb. It's wild. They should have made him spit it out. You're a fucking psycho. Goodbye. What kind of language is that? I swear people need to go back to regular English. People need to start making thesauruses and dictionaries as gifts a thing again. Okay, we're going to go ahead and read this. When did it actually get filed? On the 28th. When did he pop this on here? So the day after. He filed this. He posted this on Thanksgiving. So they filed it with the court the very, very, very next day. Okay. Plaintiff's motion for contempt for violation of protective order and other relief with incorporated memorandum of law. Plaintiffs regretfully file the instant motion based on defendant's conduct in posting his entire videotaped deposition to YouTube in violation of an existing protective order in this case and separately attacking the integrity of the court. Under the unusual circumstances of defendant's outrageous conduct, a finding of contempt of is warranted and appropriate relief is necessary. Factual background. This looks like it's a little crooked. This is okay. On Thanksgiving Day, November 27th, 2025, defendant Ryan Upchurch uploaded his entire videotaped deposition to YouTube. He titled the video, "The Hilarious Deposition of Ryan Upchurch, Sued for Freedom of Speech and Thought," which is, he knows better. Like, this is dumb. This is dumb. He also uploaded clips of the same deposition to his Instagram account. In one of these clips, Mr. Upchurch, in a reference to undersigned counsel, captioned the video, "I will always be attorney Chris Smith's biggest loss in his entire career of law. This truly shows if the basic ass truth is the basic ass truth. There is nothing anyone can say to you. It literally is what it is, and we are supposed to be the illiterate ones." This dude, honestly, he doesn't make sense when he speaks. People think that it's like some poetic stuff. It's not. he just honestly doesn't make any sense. At the time of this filing, Mr. Upchurch has 3.3 million subscribers on YouTube, and the video of his deposition has been viewed 132,067 times, or actually 244,099. Mr. Upchurch has 900,000 followers on Instagram. The video referencing undersigned counsel is not the first one Mr. Upchurch has uploaded in recent days discussing this litigation. On November 21st, 2025, Mr. Upchurch uploaded an Instagram story in which he directly attacked the integrity of this court, referring to the court as a GD crooked judge. In the video, Mr. Upchurch stated, "So with me being who the F I am and how I was raised around here in whatever county, Cheatham County, whatever, however you say it, I had to pick up the effing weight. I had to put my effing career on hold for Jesus Christ the past effing 2 years pretty much because the lawyer's effing R-word and she didn't know what freedom of speech is. She's like, you have to settle it out of court. It cannot go to federal court. Please, please don't make it go to federal court. Well, how many?" And then it ... Just hold up a big effing red flag and be like, woohoo, look at me and my red flag. What effing lawyer that's getting paid and you're effing invoicing me all this effing money? What do you not want to go to court for? I'm paying you to go to court, mother effer. But no, she effing quit last minute and blamed it on non-communication. See how ignorant this guy is? Isn't this guy absolutely freaking ignorant? For one, your lawyer is supposed to give you whatever is in your best interest, is how that's supposed to work. I gotta pull this back up. So for her to be like, please do not do this. You are going to regret this. Do not do this. And you don't want to listen. That says a lot. So now that's why now the trial for this is being pushed back because he had to get another attorney. The trial was supposed to be December 2nd. And because of him not doing what he's told, like somebody else we know, he had to get another attorney because she left him. She quit. Like, this is dumb. He is so immature. And then he's going to sit there and talk shit about the judge who has to rule over him and what happened here. Like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? She quit for non-communication. It's because you're not responding. It's because you're not getting back to her. You're doing what Ryan Upchurch does, and you're being irresponsible. And he also can't sit there and say that he had to put his career on hold over the past 2 years because of this situation. He's got his own drama going on in the music industry with several different artists. He has his own drama going on with his family. He also just had a kid. I understand there was stuff like medically going on with the hospital with his child as well. This isn't the only thing that was making him put his career on hold. There was actually like life things he had to do. So he just wants to try to blame it on whatever is the trending topic at the moment or whatever's coming up at the time. But that's not the case. He had 1,001 things going on. But no communication whenever you want to take this to court and you're not wanting to listen to your lawyer. Yeah, I probably would have been frustrated enough too, because what are you doing? You're not taking this seriously, and she probably realized that. And some effing judge down there signed off on this bullshit. What the F kind of judge is going to sign off on that? A GD crooked one. So he's literally sitting there talking shit to the judge who is going to end up having to rule over this case unless this actually goes to like some sort of jury trial. On November 27th, 2025, undersigned counsel asked defendant's counsel to ensure the removal of the deposition videos or plaintiffs would have no choice but to file the instant motion. Having received no response. Oh, look. More non-communication. Only person who is the common denominator there is Upchurch. Dumb. Plaintiffs have filed the motion under these unfortunate circumstances. Legal argument. There is a protective order in place in this case. Critically, that order provides, and this is the language that I read that I was like, shit, I am going to have to wait. I really do have to wait. No deposition or transcripts thereof may be read by anyone other than the deponent. Attorneys of record in this case and employees or agents of those attorneys. So that's why this language right here, I was like, okay, well, I'm not reading it. I'm listening to somebody speak and then giving my opinion on it. I'm not reading it, so I don't know. And we know that the language is very specific. So I'm going to call and find out and just see what they say. Because if they're going to do some crazy shit, we're going to wait. And I'll just put, again, a synopsis up. But this doesn't surprise me that it completely ran off the rails. The issue of sanctions is left to the court's discretion. The various forms of sanctions can be as severe as rendering dismissal or default judgment, holding a party in contempt, and or finding that a party owes attorney fees. And then it says like where it can like list all the things. And that's what I said. I feel like he comes out and he tries to say certain things to get people's attention on him because a song's about to drop or something with an album. Like there's been a pattern that I've noticed for a while. It just basically based off of what I saw with Kiely and checking in every now and then. It seems like that's the pattern. Something crazy and then boom, music. Something crazy and then boom, music. And then you never hear about the other thing ever again. It's literally like a limited time only thing and then it goes away. It's noticeable. The most prominent of these is the contempt sanction, which a judge must have and exercise in protecting the due and orderly administration of justice and in maintaining the authority and dignity of the court. While the contempt power should not be used lightly, it is a necessary and integral part of the independence of the judiciary and is absolutely essential to the performance of the duties imposed. The purpose is twofold: to coerce the defendant into compliance with the court's order and to compensate the movement for the losses sustained. The party seeking contempt bears the burden of proving by clear and convincing evidence that the respondent violated the court's prior order. Any ambiguity in the court's order must be resolved in favor of the alleged contemner. The protective order in this case notwithstanding, the court has inherent power to regulate the conduct of the parties, especially as concerns disparaging public remarks regarding the court itself. The Supreme Court has observed, courts of justice are universally acknowledged to be vested by their very creation, with power to impose silence, respect, and decorum in their presence and submission to their lawful mandates. Further, this power reaches both conduct before the court and that beyond the court's confines. Argument. Mr. Upchurch violated the protective order by uploading his entire deposition to YouTube. Clear and convincing evidence is established by referring to defendant's YouTube channel, where the entire deposition may still be viewed as of this filing and at the time of me reading this. A screenshot is pasted below. Oh, and in case you guys actually like want the link, because some of you guys might actually want to go do whatever with this. Y'all have at it right there. Given that the protective order ambiguously prohibits disclosure of depositions and again states, no deposition or transcripts thereof may be read by anyone other than the deponent, attorneys of record in this case, and employees or agents of those attorneys. Posting the entire 4-hour, 17-minute video of that deposition violates the protective order and appropriate remedies should follow. Turning to defendant's disparaging comments towards the court, referring to the court as a GD crooked judge, such comments appear designed to undermine these proceedings and to generate prejudicial pre-trial publicity, undermining the judicial process in this case. And go read all of the butt-kissing, brown-nosed comments. He's got somebody in there deleting things that don't agree with him. You can definitely tell. The court has inherent power to prevent defendant from making such comments in the future. Relief requested. Plaintiffs respectfully suggest the following relief: immediate removal of materials. That defendant shall, within 24 hours of service of this order, cause the following materials to be removed from all public platforms. A, the complete 4-hour deposition video posted to YouTube. B, all deposition snippets, clips, and related commentary posted to Instagram and any other social media platform. And C, any other social media posts containing deposition materials, transcripts, or related commentary. 2, prospective prohibition. The defendant is prohibited from A, further disseminating, publishing, posting, or uploading any deposition materials, transcripts, or recordings to any social media platform, internet website, or other public forum. B, making any statements on social media or at any public forum regarding the substance or details of his deposition testimony. C, making disparaging statements regarding opposing counsel, the presiding judge, the court, or any other participant in these judicial proceedings. And D, engaging in any conduct designed to prejudice the jury pool or undermine the integrity of these proceedings. And right here is the problem. He is not here to get truth for Kiely and about what's going on. He's here to make a mockery of the court, a mockery of the case, and to have a little fun while he's at it. It's more than obvious. 3, plaintiff's attorney fees. And I completely agree with this. They had to go in, file information, file a warning. He didn't listen, file with the courts, and they had to pay for that to happen. He should have to refund them for that. This rule, 37B2C, mandates that the court must order the disobedient party to pay the reasonable expenses, including attorney's fees, caused by the failure, unless the failure was substantially justified or other circumstances make an award of expenses unjust. And no, he should have not put that up there. He knew the rules, and as usual, he didn't give a shit. He does not give a shit. Here, you know why I think, look, I'm going to be like real personal here for a second. I think the reason why Ryan Upchurch makes me want to throw up is because he has the same disgusting ass behavior as my ex-husband. My oldest kid's dad behaved just like this. Cocky, arrogant, with nothing really to have a reason to act that way. There's a lot of people that make it in the music industry. There's a lot of people that make it as independent artists that do really, really well. They put themselves in positions in order to empower a cause, and they don't sit there and make a mockery of it. They sit there and they put their heart into it the way they did their career, and they treat it like they should be treating everything else, the way that they treat their own family, the way that they treat their career. They treat it with integrity. They treat it with respect. That's not what he's doing. He's taking his fans that he knows he can control. He's putting stuff out there, and because he already has this trust, I mean, think about how you are with your favorite music artist. Think about how you would feel if you could watch them and get their opinion and speak back to them, and how much of control the human brain allows that sort of situation. We see it all the time. I mean, look at teenagers. It's sad. It's still that way. But now it's more people like Ryan Upchurch. It's not really so much mainstream. Having this kind of power is commonplace these days for someone who's not in Hollywood. Let's say it that way. He sits there and says, I can prove to you these things are facts. The people believe him. That's the problem. They just believe him. They don't do their own research. They don't get other opinions. They take what he says and they make it church. They make it their gospel. He knows this. He's not an idiot. That's what makes me so mad, because just like my ex-husband is not a dumbass, he wants to be a dumbass, so he acts like a dumbass, and in turn he is a dumbass. Same concept. Arrogant, ignorant, pretends to be stupid because he thinks it's funny. That's not cute. It's not showing any respect to what he's claiming to be. And if he really is a dad, which we know he's a father now, how does this not make him feel some kind of way now that he's acting like this about somebody's child? Knowing that he's up against the father of this child that he's saying that doesn't exist. This father's pain isn't real because the child never existed in the first place. Does Ryan not stop and be like, damn, I'm a dad now. Let me sit back and let me think for a second. It sure doesn't seem so. It sure doesn't seem so. Here, defendant's violations were not substantially justified. There is no legitimate reason to post a confidential deposition to YouTube and Instagram in direct violation of a court order. No circumstance attorney fees to plaintiffs. In support of this motion, undersigned counsel attests under penalty of perjury that he has spent 5 hours investigating defendant's discovery abuses and violations of the protective order and preparing the instant motion, and that he routinely charges $500 per hour. So insane. So insane. Counsel therefore requests that the court award $2,500 in fees. Conclusion. For the foregoing reasons, plaintiffs respectfully request that the court grant this court for contempt, order defendant Ryan Upchurch to immediately remove his deposition video, deposition clips, and all related commentary from YouTube, Instagram, and all other social media and internet platforms within 24 hours of service of this order. Number 3, order that defendant is permanently enjoined from further disseminating, publishing, uploading, or posting any deposition materials, transcripts, recordings, or related commentary to any public forum during the pendency of this litigation and any appeals. Order that defendant is permanently enjoined from making disparaging or threatening statements regarding opposing counsel, the court, judicial officers, or any other participant in these proceedings. award plaintiff's counsel reasonable attorney fees and costs in the amount of $2,500 to be paid by defendant within 14 days of entry of this order. 6, retain jurisdiction to enforce this order and to impose such additional sanctions as the court deems appropriate should defendant fail to comply, and grant such other and further relief as the court deems just and equitable. I wonder if he got served with this on Saturday. I wonder if he's even gotten served with this yet. I don't know. I don't know if he's gotten served with it yet. But if he was already like sent something, and he's not stupid, guys. I want y'all to think about this for a second. He's not dumb. He posted this shit on Thanksgiving. He knew these lawyers were going to be scrambling to file something by Friday because he knew that he wasn't legally allowed to do this. He knew. Let's quit pretending. He knew. So for him to then not respond, knowing that communication was incoming because he knew what the frick he started, does that not tell you that he just really doesn't give two shits? So are they going to actually like do what needs to be done here and maybe actually put him in jail for contempt of court if he gets served for this and doesn't take it down in the time that he was told to? I'm really curious. I mean, I don't want it to freaking happen, but are they going to actually like do what needs to be done here? Or are we going to keep just allowing people to just be disobedient fools and make a mockery of things? It's a legitimate question. We see it everywhere. Everywhere. What? For destroying paintings commissioned from an artist? I mean, he's a jerk. He's an immature little punk jerk. Exactly. That's the problem. He's making it about him and being a little brat, a little snot-nosed brat that needs to be putting his nose in a damn corner instead of acting like a damn adult. I mean, no, there's a bunch. He's in constant arguments with artists constantly. Yeah, and we talked about that because we knew that there was a letter of intent and that he just acted like he didn't give two shits, and then it actually got served. Yeah, we were following along with all that. We just got really, really busy with Idaho. So when the motion to dismiss came out and we had nothing from CHP and we were waiting for CHP, I mean, damn, what was that, like 18 months? I think we waited 18 months or maybe a little bit more than 18 months for the California Highway Patrol reports. I don't even know if he went over those. If he even bothered to get those, or if he's still just running his mouth based off of social media and nothing. We went over it. I think there's actually still some aerial satellite video I need to post. But we went over like all the photos, the stuff about her car. We also went over when her freaking car went to auction, which how the hell you allow a vehicle where a body was found, and especially that of a child. How do you just let that auction off? He just inserted himself. He doesn't even live in California. He lives in Tennessee. No, he just inserted himself. I mean, which again is fine. Like there's no problem. I had no issue when he came out and started talking. That's really like my real introduction to him, was him talking about what was going on, because it was shady. It was hella shady, especially with the people that he has like in the whole situation, like his entire thing. We had a Rodney guy come out to ICADML and claim that his cousin was there and saw things. And then we had that was a black Rodney. And then we had a white Rodney come out and talk to Ryan Upchurch. So there was the tale of two Rodneys that we had to keep like untangling because people just weren't understanding. And that's basically when I stepped in to do what I try to do, which is detangle the mess, debunk it, and try to straighten it out. I mean, this is basically what I've done from day freaking one on this channel, is try to stick to the facts and try to figure out what's happening, because everything is always so off the freaking walls. So there was the tale of the two Rodneys and us trying to figure all that out, but I could never figure out if Upchurch like orchestrated something with the white Rodney. He was trying to say that Mill orchestrated something with the black Rodney. There was a bunch. But then again, there was also a lawsuit between Mill and Ryan Upchurch, and it was dropped. That's not a thing anymore. It was dropped. I don't know if they came to some sort of conversation in the background and dropped it. I don't know the details of all of that. I just know that it did not go forward. It was filed. It went on for a little while, and then it was ixnayed. But there was a lot that came with it. And then came Sammy doing things with American Dreamcatcher, and that interview being real shady. That interview is the reason why I even made my first video on true crime here and started going from there. Xaname, being around in that area, canoeing in that spot, checking in certain places. Like, I get where he was sort of like asking questions about things, but then you can't sit here and say that Kiely Rodni isn't real while also claiming that these people were trafficking her at the same time. Like, she can't be a fake person, but also be a person that's being stolen, that needs to be found and the truth come out for. Like, you can't have it both ways. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, he's gross. He's gross. It's a lot. I don't even know how a vehicle that was sitting underwater upside down that had chemical stuff and stuff taken apart and all the things, like, we saw how taken apart it was. Like, how do you just sell that? It didn't show anything. We're basically getting, yeah, we're basically getting like the information about the speed from the vehicle because of the fire cams. There's like trail cams that look over this area at Prosser Lake. And I think Gray Hughes even did like an overlay at some point. That's my introduction to Gray Hughes, is the Kiely Rodni case. He's talented, but he's an asshole. So he took the way that the fire cam looked during the day and put an overlay over the time frame that we had for Kiely's, because it was after midnight for Kiely's, so that we could get an idea about what it looked like in the daytime with like terrain, the curvature of the way that the water went with the sand, the road, all the things. I mean, 8 to 10 miles per hour, 8 to 10 miles per hour, not driving normal speeds. Bob's real slow. Like, you can count it. Like, if she was alive, she didn't go into the water fast enough for her to have hit her head on anything. It literally, like, it was so freaking slow. It was disgustingly slow. No impact would have caused her to hit her head. Nothing would have caused her to go unconscious. That thing went into the water so slow. It didn't, like, it wouldn't even have made like a splash. The most you would have probably heard was, as the car was completely underwater, the gurgles of the bubbles coming out because the windows were open. That's about as much as you would have heard because of how slow it was going. So yeah, there's a lot of questions. Shit ton of questions. And then, like I said, I'll give it to Ryan. He did come out and be like, I'll give you a Hellcat. Like, tell me where the frick Kiely is. Tell me what's going on. This is before she was found. I think it was before she was found. Because there was nothing about this party coming out. Nothing. No photos, nothing on. There was like an app that we learned about back then called Be Real, which is sort of like Snapchat, I guess. But it's like an in the moment thing where you take a picture of what you're doing right there in the moment. It's instantly posted and then it like disappears after a few minutes, is how it was described to me from memory. Exactly. If you are found burnt up and there's no smoke in your lungs, you were already deceased before you caught flame. That's why I'm like, how are you, like, to me, in my opinion, if she would have been in the water the entire like 2-ish weeks, her entire body would have been waterlogged. So regardless, there should have still been water in the lungs because it would have like saturated through. She was in there for so long. Water does a lot to the body. And again, her like ethanol alcohol levels, the same as normal decomposition. You can go into the autopsy report and compare the percentages. It is so freaking low, it doesn't even matter. There is no way that she was so drunk that she drove into the freaking water at 8 miles an hour. No. Oh, I don't know. Someone left a comment saying that Jagger actually bought it from auction, but I don't know if that's true. Jagger is her boyfriend. I know so much back information about this. I actually don't know how to put this out there because according to the public, he's the ex-boyfriend, but it wasn't really as ex as it was to everyone else. Like, I'll say that Steve Fisher has told me a lot of stuff like in the back end that I definitely have not come out here and said, because he like still talks and he's not getting paid from the grandpa. He just still talks to him because he was there like when Kiely was found. So they just sort of have like a connection. Him and grandpa are basically like friends. They're basically like friends. So he's told me a few things, really messed up things. People they've talked to that the public doesn't even know exist. Like I know a few. I know where people were at certain times, where people were the night before situations. I know all those kinds of things. None of it's relevant though. None of it was relevant. The only person's information that's really relevant is Sammy's, in my opinion, and not a lot of people have information on her. So that's something I'm, again, trying to get from Truckee. Yeah, that, what's his name? Well, see, that's where it changed. Definitely. Freaking definitely. But see, that's where things got switched up. Because originally it was the Hellcat, but then AWP found Kiely and they weren't being given the reward. And I think the reward not being given to AWP is where Ryan Upchurch gets his opinion on it being a GoFundMe scam, which again, you could have stopped there. You could have stopped there. You could have not said, so Kiely must not be a real person, because just based off of the GoFundMe being for finding Kiely, information on finding Kiely, and then AWP not getting the reward, you could have based you could have based your, oh, this is a freaking scam, this is fraudulent, based off of just the intentions of the GoFundMe itself, without pulling this whole thing about Callie Ross and Kiely not being real and all this other crazy shit. You could have stopped there. You could have stopped there. So when AWP didn't get the reward, I mean, I gave Ryan his kudos for that too, because he gave AWP $100,000 that they were basically, owed. And then he also gave Doug the Hellcat. But the crazy part about that is that and this is Ryan's own freaking words, bro, he did not wire the damn money to an account that's actually labeled Adventures with Purpose. He did not send it to their 401c. He wired that $100,000 straight to Jared's personal account. He said so himself. But he didn't say anything about any of it until after the charges and all the accusations and all the crazy shit came out about Jared Lysick. And then he was telling them he wanted his $100,000 back. And that's when he came out saying it didn't even go to AWP. It went to Jared. God, there was so much. Not just that, but he also said somebody from AWP came to his house and warned him about all kinds of stuff. And then all the crazy shit with Jared happened. That's why a lot of people are really asking a lot of questions about what happened with Kiely for real, because a lot of there was a lot of ripple effects. Exactly. It was meant to find Kiely. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him at that point. After finding out about Jared, I was agreeing. He didn't want Doug's Hellcat back. He only wanted the $100,000 back. And on top of that, I don't know why he even felt comfortable sending it over to Jared anyway. I haven't bought Progresso in years. I just will not. Not just that, but the sodium's bad. You must have watched my Campbell's video. Yeah, I can't. The sodium in it's bad too. I'll get one can every blue moon of clam chowder because I'm a weirdo and I really love clam chowder, but that's it. I'm sure that's the fakest of the fake too. But yeah, no, it was meant for finding Kiely. And the thing that really just I was already upset with Lindsay's behavior, right? But when your daughter is being looked for in a damn body of water, what the fuck is wrong with you going to eat at a sushi restaurant? That was so low class, and I don't know what the point in that was. You could have gone to any other restaurant in town But you go to a sushi place as your daughter is literally being looked for by AWP underwater, and you're in full knowledge of it. You know they are in town. They've tried to contact you. They've tried to talk to you. You knew they were there. You knew they were looking in water for your child, and you choose to eat sushi. That really effed me up. Yeah, that effed me up so bad. There was no coming back from that. I'm sorry if that sounds stupid, but there just was no coming back from that at all. Okay, so now we're going to go over, because we didn't go over this whenever it was ruled. And I think that this is probably why he's so pissed off at the judge. So we're going to go through the judge's order when he was denied his dismissal. Because the judge was like, no. So this is why he's pissed off at the judge. I don't give a damn. Get the frick over it. You know what else is pathetic? That she didn't actually call her daughter when she knew her daughter was 16 years old and around a bunch of alcohol and coming back late. That she didn't stay up in order for her child to get home that night. That she knew her child was at a party where there was alcohol and she was going to be coming home late, and she went to bed instead of staying awake and making sure her child got home. Petty, more like honesty. Not really my issue. Well, I sure wouldn't fall asleep before my child got home. And it's not really my problem. And that's the last time I'm honestly going to acknowledge your stupidity. Okay, so when was this actually filed? This was filed back in May of 2024. It took October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Six-ish months for the judge to actually get back with them. California must be like hella logged. Because I know this was filed in 2023 and they weren't even going to have their trial set until August of 2025 for a civil case. That's insane. A civil case to take 2 years. That's wild. Okay. And again, this is old. This is from 2024, but we're catching up. Okay. Pending before the court is defendant Ryan Upchurch's motion to dismiss plaintiff's amended complaint. Plaintiffs David Robertson, the grandfather, and Daniel Rodni, her biological father, filed a response in opposition, and Upchurch filed a reply. For the reasons discussed below, the motion will be denied. Factual background. Plaintiffs allege that Upchurch is a media personality who has approximately 3,140,000 subscribers on YouTube. Plaintiffs also allege that Kiely Rodni, the granddaughter of plaintiff David Robertson and daughter of plaintiff Daniel Rodni, disappeared after a party near Tahoe National Forest on August 6, 2022. Plaintiffs state that on August 13, 2022, after Kiely Rodni's disappearance, Upchurch began making social media posts about her disappearance and offered theories of what happened to Kiely Rodni, including that other YouTube personalities were involved in or responsible for Kiely Rodni's disappearance. And you see what else is kind of insane is I thought that he was already told to delete the videos where he talked about a bunch of people, but back, I think it was the 19th, I said it was. On like the 19th, he still had videos talking about like Ickadmel. They were older. I had to go and like scroll to really find them. But he still had videos about Ickadmel, and he was talking about Popcorn Planet, and there was like other things about the case he was still talking about, and I could have sworn that he was already told to get rid of that stuff. So maybe they don't follow under the jurisdiction. I'm not really quite sure. Kiely Rodni's body was discovered on August 21st, 2022. That same day, authorities confirmed that the body was more than likely Kiely Rodni and that an autopsy had been ordered to confirm the identity. On that same date, Upchurch learned that Kiely Rodni's body had been discovered and purported to offer a prayer for Kiely Rodni and her family. I remember that. I was actually watching him on the panel over on Zav Girl's channel when the news broke. I was watching her panel and the news came out and everyone just like stopped. I remember everyone's faces. I remember how I felt watching that happen in like real time, and then switching over to see the Facebook post. Cause see, that was another like really shady thing that ended up happening, was that AWP posted on Facebook that they located her before they called the police, before they called the families. And then they ended up calling some aunt that was like all kinds of different ways removed that I don't even think she was in the area at the time. And that's who they ended up like talking to in their video that they posted that got millions of views from whenever they found her. It wasn't even a direct family member. And the grandfather and the dad were there at the campground on the opposite side of the lake with Steve Fisher at the time. And instead of calling the family that was there at the scene, they call some random aunt. Well, that's really sad because they should have, especially if you were a teenager. Kiely was 16 years old. Right? Like, how are you willing to give up that much money? Technically, like $200,000 altogether for someone who you're trying to claim doesn't exist. How does that make sense? Yeah. And remember, they flipped her over. The car was upside down. They flipped her body, the vehicle, the way that everything landed, anything. They flipped it the frick over before pulling it out the water. Disgusting stuff. There was ways they could have pulled it out without that. They had balloons. They could have pulled it up a certain way. They didn't have to flip it. There was ways they could have done this. There was no way that was necessary. They could have figured that out better than that. Okay, so this is where he says basically to like leave people alone because they're devastated and upset, okay? On that date, Upchurch posted that nobody should really be doing anything about this now. There really shouldn't be anything put anywhere that's going to make her mom even more devastated than she's already going to be. Plaintiffs allege that Upchurch accepted on August 21st, 2022 that Kiely Rodni was real and that she died, and that further online posting relating to her could traumatize her family. And then he flips shit and says that she doesn't even exist. So dumb. On August 22nd, 2022, Upchurch posted a video in which he appeared to express his condolences to Kiely Rodni's family. They misspelled her name. You are literally the attorneys for the family. Jesus Christ. Okay. On August 23rd, 2022, authorities confirmed the identity of Kiely Rodni's body. On August 28th, 2022, Upchurch posted a video in which he accused the sheriff's office that identified Kiely Rodni of being a fake police department. I think this is the video he put out where I debunked him using the exact same tools that he was using the entire video. He did all kinds of this is the day that he lost his mind. This was the video right here. I distinctly remember. Oh, 1 second. Okay. Yeah, this is it. That video is still on my channel. On August 28th, 2022, Upchurch posted a video in which he accused the sheriff's office that identified Kiely Rodni of being a fake police department and stated that Kiely Rodni's disappearance was fake and that the police were involved in faking her existence and death. What he saw is probably his views go down. His engagement slow down. So we had to fix that, you know. On August 29th, 2022, Upchurch posted a video that Kiely Rodni and her family were not real and her death was a scam to raise money for GoFundMe. On September 1st, 2022, Upchurch posted a phone number and address of Daniel Rodni. He doxed Kiely's father. Plaintiffs allege that a result of this video and the ensuing negative attention he received, Daniel Rodni went into hiding and made substantial investments in home security, surveillance, and cameras. Yeah. With the kind of people that just follow Upchurch's word vomit, you kind of have to. On September 3rd, 2022, Upchurch posted a video stating that Kiely Rodni is not Kiely Rodni. Kiely Rodni is Callie Ross. Callie Ross's dad is fake Kiely Rodni's grandpa. So Callie Ross was like someone who was the same age, like a teenager. So he was trying to say that 70-something-year-old grandpa was actually this like teenager's biological father and not actually Kiely Rodni's granddad. He lost his freaking mind. On that same date, Upchurch posted a video stating, "I would not say this unless I was 100% confident. Kiely Rodni is not real. Her grandfather is not real. Her dad is not real. Her mom is not real. All the pictures and videos you're seeing of this Kiely Rodni person are actual pictures and videos from someone named Callie that are 5 to 7 years old. These two people looked nothing alike." As a matter of fact, the Callie Ross girl had a more full face, sort of like Kaylee Consalvis does. She had a more full face. She had a completely different body shape. It was not a 16-year-old that's grown up a little bit at all. I don't know what made him think that these two people looked anything alike, but it was obvious to people who needed 3-inch thick freaking glasses that these two people looked nothing alike. Nothing alike. Nothing alike. On October 13th, 2022, news outlets reported the results of the coroner's final report of investigation into Kiely Rodni's death, which concluded that the manner of death was an accident and the cause of death was drowning. On December 22nd, 2022, Upchurch posted a video stating, "Let's be honest with ourselves. At this point in the video, there is nothing to lead me to believe that this person is real. The Kiely Rodni person. There is nothing that shows me she's real yet. She's a minor. So you can't just go in and file information and get information on a minor, something that Ryan Upchurch should have already known was a factor here." In response to a comment to this video, Upchurch commented, "I'm making an insane amount of money. I'm a good guy and I'm rich. Fighting evil that is rich because that's what I do." You see that kind of bullshit arrogance? No, that's not what you're doing. That's not what you're doing freaking at all. Literally at all. After this lawsuit was filed, Upchurch posted a message on YouTube stating, "I'm not at all sorry for anything I've ever said on the internet at all whatsoever and never will be. That's all I wanted to say, LOL." You know, because he's so mature. So mature. Plaintiffs bring claims against Upchurch for defamation, defamation per se, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and false light invasion of privacy. Yeah, you doxed someone. Like, why would you even bother doing that? It's so pathetic. Plaintiffs allege that they have both received therapy for psychological injuries attributable to Upchurch's social media posts. Yeah, Grandpa has not been in a good way for a long time. Super long time. On October 10th, 2023, Upchurch filed the pending motion to dismiss under Fed R. Civ P 12b6 for failure to state a claim upon which relief may be granted. Legal standard. The Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 12b6 permits dismissal of a complaint for failure to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. For purposes of a motion to dismiss, a court must take all of the factual allegations in the complaint as true. To survive a motion to dismiss, a complainant must contain sufficient factual allegations accepted as true to state a claim for relief that is plausible on its face. A claim has facial plausibility when the plaintiff pleads facts that allow the court to draw the reasonable inference that the defendant is liable for the misconduct alleged. In reviewing a motion to dismiss, the court construes the complaint in the light most favorable to the plaintiff, accepts its allegations as true, and draws all reasonable inferences in favor to the plaintiff. Thus, dismissal is appropriate only if it appears beyond doubt that the plaintiff can prove no set of facts in support of his claim which would entitle him to relief. Analysis. Choice of law. This is where they were trying to decide if this was going to go under Tennessee law or California law. It ended up going under California laws, I believe. Upchurch contends that Tennessee law should govern his action because it has a more significant relationship than California. I said Tennessee law should govern because that's where he is, and if he needs to be punished, he should be punished where he lives. It'd probably be a lot less messy that way, but okay. In support of his argument, Upchurch asserts that Tennessee law does not recognize defamation per se and has a statutory cap on damages recoverable in civil actions. In response, plaintiffs argue that California law should apply because it has the most significant relationship to this action. Plaintiffs also argue that there is no permissible inquiry as to whether applying one's state law over another's results in a more favorable outcome to either party. Look at that. My friend heard back from YouTube. She got hit with copyright for playing it straight without commentary, stopping and starting. Ryan didn't flag it. It was automatic. Well, why would you do that? Why would you just play it straight through? Yeah, she came out and spoke. The one that looked dead in that picture. She came out and spoke. I mean, I was going to do it anyway. It wasn't until this got filed that I'm going to wait for the courts tomorrow. Because again, I'm not a party to this case. I'm not a party to this case. And if I'm following YouTube guidelines the way that I've already done what I needed to do to the video, because again, this one's 4 hours and 17 minutes. I think mine's like 3 hours and 56 because it's sped up to like 110. Zoomed in, flipped. There's a filter on it. So he can't say shit. But the only thing now is that this verbiage says no one other than. But I'm also not reading it. That's why I need to talk to the court. I just don't want anything to do legally on my channel by reviewing it. That's why the plan changed at 2 a.m. when I bought the paperwork. Because I had to go on Pacer and buy the paperwork. Okay. When determining choice of law, questions. Tennessee follows the most significant relationship approach, which applies the law of the state where the injury occurred, unless some other state has a more significant relationship to the litigation. Generally, the law of the state where the injury occurred will have the most significant relationship to the litigation. Here, plaintiffs are domiciled in California, were injured in California, received treatment for their injuries, psychological, in California, and Upchurch's social media posts were published in California. Did he like have a VPN on? Okay. Accordingly, the court finds that California law should govern this action. First Amendment. 1. Actual malice versus negligence. It appears both parties agree that plaintiffs are private figures and that the standard under California law for a private figure to succeed on a defamation claim is negligence rather than actual malice. But Ryan is a public figure. Why are we being dumb? Let's be serious. That's what he is. He's a public figure. Now they're going to cite all of these laws about malice standards for private people, which again, I don't understand why they're calling him that. California permits defamation liability if it is consistent with the requirements of the United States Constitution. We see no reason to deny California citizens protection for their reputations equal to that provided in other states. We declined to diverge from the near unanimous authority that a private person need prove only negligence rather than malice to recover for defamation. Accordingly, the negligence standard applies to plaintiffs' defamation claims. Opinion speech. The Supreme Court has refused to create a wholesale defamation exemption for anything that might be labeled opinion and recognized that expressions of opinion may often imply an assertion of objective fact. And then it goes down to in Milkovich versus Lorraine Journal Co., the Supreme Court rejected a categorical First Amendment protection for opinion speech, holding that we are not persuaded that an additional separate constitutional privilege for opinion is required to ensure the freedom of expression guaranteed by the First Amendment. Instead, the analysis under the First Amendment is not simply the characterization of statements as fact or opinion, but rather the statements reasonably imply false and defamatory facts. Further, as plaintiffs correctly point out, the Sixth Circuit has interpreted Milkovich to stand for the proposition that a viable defamation claim exists where a reasonable fact finder could conclude that the challenge statements connotes? Is that connotes? How do I say that? Connote. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Statement connotes actual, objectively verifiable facts. The Sixth Circuit considers the following 4 factors when determining whether a statement can carry a defamatory meaning. 1, the common usage or meaning of the allegedly defamatory words themselves, whether they are commonly understood to be loose, figurative, or hyperbolic words. 2, the degree to which the statements are verifiable, whether the statement is objectively capable of proof or disproof. 3, the immediate context in which the statement occurs. And 4, the broader social context into which the statement fits. Similarly, I'm looking for something. Where did it go? I think I left it in here. Okay. All right, let me see where I was. Similarly, the Ninth Circuit considers whether the general tenor of the entire work negates the impression that the defendant was asserting an objective fact, whether the defendant used figurative or hyperbolic language that negates that impression, and 3, whether the statement in question is susceptible of being proved true or false. Further, the Ninth Circuit has recognized that the context of a statement may control whether words were understood in a defamatory sense, and that the broad context includes the general tenor of the entire work, the subject of the statements, the setting, and the format of the work. Upchurch argues that his statements are opinions and protected by the First Amendment. Upchurch contends that the specific language and the context demonstrate that the statements were opinions. Upchurch also alleges that he made the statements without personal knowledge and formed his opinions based on reports, statements, photographs, interviews, and information that he disclosed to his audience. Upchurch argues that viewers are certainly not led to think that Mr. Upchurch is presenting objective assertion of facts rather than his opinion on facts that they have equal opportunity to analyze. Bullshit. I was literally just about to say this again. He says he is 100% that this is true. He's going to produce the proof of fact. He can prove it. That's not an opinion. That is not an opinion. In response, plaintiffs argue that Upchurch's statements may be proven false by objective evidence. In support of this argument, plaintiffs point to Upchurch's statement that, I would not say this unless I was 100% confident. And again, I guess this was Ryan misspelling her. Because isn't this the exact same misspelling as before? Is this? Okay, it is a statement. Okay, so he is the one who misspelled her name. Go figure. Kiely Rodni is not real. Her grandfather is not real. Her dad is not real. Her mom is not real. All the pictures and videos you're seeing of this Kiely Rodni person are actual pictures and videos of someone named Callie that are 5 to 7 years old. I'm about to post the proof and show you guys. Plaintiffs contend that Upchurch made a false factual assertion that plaintiffs are not real people and failed to use qualifying or cautionary language. Plaintiffs further point out that, in addition to accusing plaintiffs of not being who they claim to be, Upchurch asserted that plaintiffs were relatives of a woman named Callie Ross, that Kiely Rodni was fake, and that the investigating police department was a fake police department. Plaintiffs also contend that Upchurch represented that Kiely Rodni's death was a scam to make money via the related GoFundMe website set up for her family. Which is, again, where's Lindsay? Like, I feel like Lindsay should be part of this lawsuit. I don't really quite understand why she's not. Taking the allegations in the first amended complaint as true, the court finds that Upchurch's statements were expressed in terms of absolute certainty and are objectively capable of being proven false. Yes, based off things he created. Not based off of actual facts, but things that he created. The context surrounding the statements also demonstrates that the statements were not merely opinions, as Upchurch contends, because Upchurch had previously stated that Kiely Rodni was real, that she died, and that further online posting related to Kiely Rodni could traumatize her family. Accordingly, the court finds that, taking the allegations in the first admitted complaint as true, Upchurch's statements are sufficient to state a claim for defamation. Number 3. Whether the statements are of or concerning plaintiffs. Upchurch also argues that the majority of the alleged defamatory statements aren't of and concerning the plaintiffs, which is what I said. That's why I don't understand where Lindsay is. Because the GoFundMe was set up by Lindsay's friends. Like, I feel like the GoFundMe stuff probably shouldn't even be in this lawsuit because Lindsay's not attached to it, because Daniel wasn't going to be a recipient of any of it. If anything, it should be emotional distress, a couple of the other things that they said. But when it comes to like fraud, I mean, it was really, I mean, no, he did say Kylie's mom's not real, Kylie's dad's not real, Kylie's grandfather's not real. So he did put all of them into the damn whole thing. But in reality, it was like set up for Lindsay. There's so many freaking technicals here. Upchurch contends that the GoFundMe scam comments are not targeted at the plaintiffs, which is, again, like true, but not at the same time. In response, plaintiffs argue that Upchurch's GoFundMe comments refer to the plaintiffs by implication. I mean, what is this? How does he say it? Kylie's not real. Her grandfather is not real. Her dad is not real. Her mom is not real. Well, I mean, yeah, he did that to himself, I guess. If he would have just left it at the GoFundMe and never separated out that, he probably could have gotten like away with that because Lindsay's not on the docket. But that's kind of like where he screwed up with that part. In response, plaintiffs argue that Upchurch's GoFundMe, by implication. Specifically, plaintiffs state that the complaints allege that the GoFundMe was titled Support for the Family of Kiely Rodni and that plaintiffs are members of Kiely Rodni's family, but that's not what it was originally for. The first, I think we had screenshots. There might be screenshots in a video of the original verbiage of the GoFundMe and then what it switched to with a date that switched. I'm pretty sure we talked about that. The First Amendment requires that statements upon which a defamation claim is based must specifically refer to or be of and concerning the plaintiff in some way. However, under California law, defamatory statements directed towards a discrete group of people are sufficient to state a claim for defamation where the group is sufficiently small. The California Court of Appeals has recognized that a family constitutes a sufficiently small group. The court agrees with plaintiffs that Upchurch's comments regarding the GoFundMe, which was established for Kiely Rodni's family, concerned plaintiffs as members of her family. Accordingly, taking the allegations in the first admitted complaint as true, the court finds that plaintiffs have pled facts sufficient to state a claim for defamation. Defamation per se. Plaintiffs bring a claim against Upchurch for defamation per se in violation of California Civil Code 46. Slander is a false and unprivileged publication, orally uttered, and also communications by radio or any mechanical or other means, which charges any person with a crime or with having been indicted, convicted, or punished for crime. Plaintiffs allege that Upchurch's statements accusing them of participating in a GoFundMe scam falsely accuse them of committing acts of moral turpitude, including fraud, which is a chargeable offense. Upchurch argues that plaintiff's defamation per se claim should be dismissed because the allegations in the first admitted complaint do not support that he accused plaintiffs of crimes of moral turpitude. Upchurch again argues that the statements related to the GoFundMe are not of and concerning plaintiffs and that plaintiffs do not set out any instances of Upchurch alleging that plaintiffs themselves were involved in any scam or fraud. But there is in the statement that we just reread again, he literally puts them all in there by claiming that they are not real. That's the problem. He had valid questions until he went stupid. And he never reeled himself back in. Instead, he's doubling down on the stupidity because he knows that if he backtracks now, like somebody else already commented, if he backtracks now, then the defamation case goes forward because he is now like admitting that he knows that it's all bullshit. So he's having to double down and play like a dumbass. That's what's happening. Here, plaintiffs allege that Upchurch made a social media post that the only crime that is going on is a scam to get GoFundMe money. Plaintiffs also contend that Upchurch suggested the Kiely Rodni case was a scam to raise money through GoFundMe and stated, "Do you realize that you can be a millionaire on GoFundMe by catfishing people with internet debts? Look at Kiely Rodni GoFundMe. It's made $63,000 in the past 7 days. That's one GoFundMe for Kiely Rodni. It's free money that gets the heat off of you because everyone's looking for a person that you made up because why? Because you pushed a car into the lake." The mom didn't. And that's another thing. He's not even like trying to figure out exactly how Kiely got into the water. He's just on the whole, oh, she's not real and it's all bullshit. Even though he already knows that that's not bullshit. He's not even trying. He's not even trying. It's all bullshit. It pisses me off because we could have actually gotten some actual answers here, and he just doesn't give two shits. The court finds that, taking the allegations in the first admitted complaint as true, plaintiffs have stated facts sufficient to state a claim for defamation per se under California law. False light invasion of privacy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligent infliction of emotional distress. Upchurch largely argues for dismissal of plaintiffs' claims for false light invasion of privacy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligent infliction of emotional distress on the same basis as his argument for dismissing the defamation claims. Upchurch also attacks these claims as redundant. In response, plaintiffs contend that California law permits false light invasion of privacy claims to be brought in tandem with defamation claims, even though the false light claim could be superfluous. That's not how that word is said. That's what I thought. I felt like there was some syllables missing. Superfluous. I forget about that word. I haven't had to use that one in a while. And such claims, holy crap. such clams, that delicious clam chowder we were talking about, such clams will proceed in lockstep with each other. Accepting the allegations in the first admitted complaint as true, the court finds that plaintiffs have pled facts sufficient to state a claim upon which relief may be granted. Accordingly, Upchurch's motion to dismiss plaintiffs' claims, at least they got it right that time, for false light invasion of privacy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligent infliction of emotional distress is denied. And all of it denied. All of it denied. But yeah, at least we got caught up. We got caught up with those. Again, I'm going to find out at least 2 weeks. She was reported missing on the 6th, and I think AWP found her on the 20th. It was either the 20th or the 21st. So about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks. I didn't hear anything about that. We had the autopsy results. That's how we know that she didn't have enough alcohol in her system for them to act like she was so freaking out of it at the party. It was literally the same levels as the body already produces in decomposition. The exact same levels for the exact same amount of time that she was already gone. Yeah. It's just crazy to me. Like, even if she would not have been breathing, why isn't there like more water in there? She'd been under there for a while. Waterlogged. Which is honestly, for those of you following along with David and Celeste, is what they're trying to say now. That in those 3 bags that her body parts were actually in that Tesla, that her body was waterlogged and water damaged. On top of the back and forth with like her maybe being frozen or not at some point. I mean, people say Florida is crazy. California might have it beat when it comes to teenage girls. Crazy stuff. Okay, you guys. We went through both of those. We're up to date now. Now we're just waiting on what they're going to do with this order. Maybe by Monday there'll be something. I don't know. I'm going to call the courthouse in the morning and see if I can get information about that. Let's also not forget, though, in the Idaho 4 case, I was told Tuesday, so 2 days before Thanksgiving, that it was with the attorney and that they were hoping it would have been given to me by Wednesday, but if not, they were going to be closed Thursday, Friday, and it might be Monday. So we might have the entirety of the 1112 King Road camera for the Idaho 4 case to go over by Monday. I'm hoping so. Tuesday at the latest. I mean, if it was with the attorney, it shouldn't be taking that much longer. It'll be probably another like $800 though, which will be crazy. That's true. I mean, most states don't. They don't want to freak people out. Well, thank you for being here. They did. From what I remember, there was a very low amount of in her system, and then we were expecting insane alcohol levels, because the people that were coming out and saying that she was drinking were Sammy, which is the last person that even saw her, claiming that she was so out of it that Sammy no longer felt comfortable with her driving her home. So instead of her getting a ride for both of them, or them like working together to get a ride together, she says how drunk Kiely is, and then she takes off by herself, and then says that Kiely must have forgotten the conversation that we had about me leaving because she was just so drunk. So she ended up calling me and asking me if I needed a ride after I was already gone. Oh, there's a whole bunch of crazy shit. They try to say that she was all kinds of intoxicated. No, not with them levels. And she was also very tiny. That's what I'm saying. With how slow, and all these videos are still on my channel, guys. They're all there. I probably need to put like a little compilation together of just like the facts with everything at this point, because it's been a while and it needs to get back out into the algorithm that way. But there's just no way, with how slow the car was going, with the window being down. There's just no freaking way. Yeah, at 8 miles an hour. It just makes no sense whatsoever. Thank you for being here, Cammie. Thank you for being here. Okay. I don't know if we're going to go live later tonight in the Idaho case. We might, I think. Let me see if we have anything else to go over interview-wise before we hopefully get 11-12. We do. Peyton Rossi. Peyton Rossi. See if I can remember who this is without my notes. I think he's the guy who drove Jack Decor home that night. It's only 12 minutes and 39 seconds. So I think we're going to go live tonight and go over Peyton's so that we can get caught up. I think that's the last interview that we have. That'll get us caught up. And if we don't get anything for 11-12 tomorrow, then we'll probably go over some body cam that we need to catch up on in that case tomorrow night. But for sure, I'll schedule a live. Oh, thank you, Brian. Thank you for the gifted membership. Congratulations. You gifted yourself. Oh, it did that. That's actually hilarious. I didn't know I could do that. I've been on YouTube, like watching YouTube for so long, and I had like couponing stuff every now and then. Like I do a video like once every 3 or 6 months just out of boredom. So it has me like grandfathered into a time where I can't even accept gifted memberships. I don't have the option to even turn it on. It's so sad. Oh, well, thank you. Y'all have a great evening. You'll have a super great evening. And again, we'll be live later to go over Peyton stuff. And thank you so much for the gifted membership, Brian. I really do appreciate that. I really, really do. Thank you for spending some time with me on your Sunday. Relax. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Let me go ahead and roll this out. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. All right, you guys. See y'all.